going on, y'all? This is Michael Miles with the Plot Twist 215, and today is the first video of 9, right? Covering all of the episodes of What If. And so my goal is to go through all of them and just do a quick review of them and give you my thoughts on them. So if you're new to the channel, please take a second to subscribe to the channel if you have not done so already. Hit the bell to get alerts about future videos and all that good stuff. And so with that being the case, let's get started. And with season 2, it looks like it is picking up where season 1 had left off at. And so with this first episode, we are seeing in this kind of this multiverse, in this universe, we see what would have happened if Ronan would have betrayed Thanos and he would have kind of became the top bad guy. And in that situation, we see what would have happened with him. They don't say Gamora's name, but they do mention that he goes off. He takes Nebula's sister with her, being Gamora, and leaves Nebula to die. And so she's picked up by Nova Corps and she joins them. And so one of the things I'll say about this one is that I think it's very interesting that they're starting the series off with Nebula. Now I like the fact that they're making her the main character in this first episode. I think it's really interesting because I don't think that she got a fair amount of screen time throughout the movies, but it's cool to see them dive a little bit more into her, albeit in a different storyline. So I think it was really cool that they did that. Also, I would say that I feel like based on where the MCU has been and some of the criticism that they've received, particularly within Phase 4, being very, almost overly funny, or them taking a lot of attempts to be, overly comical and things like that. You definitely get a sense that this is a very, I feel like they're using this series to pivot back to more serious storylines, and because even the first What If, it definitely had a lot of dark moments to it, and this one definitely has that same feel. And I think that they are using this as a as a way to kind of pivot back to more serious storylines, and I think to get back audiences, because I feel like that's one of the criticisms that's been there. I know I personally felt that way about Thor: Love and Thunder, and even some of the other Disney Plus shows that have been really just really trying to be really funny and kind of gotten away from some of those serious. So I remember seeing that in the comment one day, and I saw it, and I definitely agree with that. And I feel like this series could have been dropped at a better time. So in this episode, we see that Yondu is killed, and so Nebula, it starts off with her, them coming up to his body and then trying to figure out what happened. And then we find out with some of the backdrop, actually, right before we even get to that, we find out that Ronan is kind of taking over where he's about to destroy or invade Xandar, but then Nova Prime made the decision to put a planetary force field around the planet, so they couldn't do that. But in doing so, nothing can get in, but then also nothing can get out. And so it kind of put the planet in a situation where they were completely cut off from everything else. And it honestly gave me 2020 vibes, pandemic vibes. I don't know if that's what they were going for to give us that type of feel, but that sense of seclusion and isolation, that type of thing. But they also showed how being so secluded and cut off, how it caused a lot of social unrest and just people just started acting crazy and whatnot. And so it gives a certain connection to the audience, given what we just came out of over the last few years with the pandemic. I also like the fact that they still showed some of the Guardians of the Galaxy. They showed a quick, Groot scene where they showed Groot, and then they also they showed Drax in it or whatnot, which I think that was pretty dope too. And though this wasn't going back to what I said earlier, it's definitely a very serious episode, a very kind of serious tone to it. But it was cool that they did have balance with Korg, right? With being the comical relief or whatever. And so I feel like Korg is becoming a fan favorite, providing some relief in terms of some humor, whatnot in it. And so I think it fits, right? So it's a very serious, has a very serious tone to the episode, but they do kind of sprinkle him in there and have those really funny moments, which I think is really, really good. But again, I think again it has very reminiscent of phases 1 through 3, and so I think it's really cool. So I hope that they're using this as a kind of as one of those kind of pivoting kind of moments, and maybe this is just the brand of What If. It just really kind of has become that. But I really hope that this kind of spills over into some of the films. I think that it would kind of get some audiences or some fans who've kind of really either given up on the MCU or kind of on the verge of just like just really being a little unsure about the future of the franchise. So I would hope that they really they kind of explored that a little bit more. So if I were to give this episode a rating, I would say a 4.5 out of 5. If we're gonna go out of 5, plot twist 2 and 5 rating 4 out of 5 for this first episode of What If. I think it's a really good start, and just like how they did for the first season of What If, I'm interested to see how it all kind of comes together towards the end, assuming that they're going to do that same thing. And so I'm really interested to see how they do that. But yeah, anyway, so 4.5 out of 5. I'm really interested to see how the rest of the episodes tying in. I mean that's just kind of what they do. They just they've been doing this thing for over 15 years now, with making all these things work together. So What If is kind of a microcosm of that. So I'm looking forward to seeing that. So if you haven't seen the episode, make sure you go check it out. And it's on Disney Plus. It's posted up there right now. And so make sure you tune in. Plan to make sure I go through all these episodes, give you guys my thoughts. But also I want to hear from you. If you've already seen it, what are your thoughts about it? Maybe you think it was completely whack. Put it down in the comments. So again, remember, subscribe to the channel, and yeah, let's have this let's go through this journey together called What If. All right, so that being said, I'm Mike Miles with the Plot Twist 2 and 5. Guys, have a great day. Peace.